you smile. So handling Mark, the man with the spark. He's got the wisdom, he's got the heart. Pull up a chair, stay for a while. Manly Mark will make you smile.
The Russiagate Saga, a controversy that's back in the headlines with a vengeance. In a stunning turn of events, President Donald Trump has accused former President Barack Obama of treason, alleging a conspiracy to undermine his 2016 campaign through fabricated claims of Russian interference. Fueled by a recent report from Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, these accusations have reignited fierce debates about truth, power, and political vengeance. Was there a treasonous conspiracy orchestrated by Obama's administration, as Trump and Gabbard claim? Or is this, as Obama's team insists, a bizarre distraction from other controversies? Find out this and much more on today's episode of Midday Madness with Manly Mark. Hey you guys, welcome to another episode of Midday Madness with Manly Mark. I'm your host, Manly Mark. And as you can tell from our my little intro today, we're not jumping right back into Operation Paperclip, Warner Von Braun stuff. Even though I think you're gonna find once I start getting into the Warner Von Braun stuff and all the weird connections he has with the space industry, Disney, the media, and even he fuels some alien conspiracies too. So once I get into that some more, I think you guys are going to really dig that. But today we're going to talk about something different. We're going to talk about the Russiagate conspiracy. Okay, this has been going on for I don't know what year is it? Almost 10 years now. It started in 2016. But essentially, if you've been watching the news, I'll show you a clip here soon. You're going to see that it's back in the news. Trump is talking about it, and he's hot about it. He's mad. Conspiracy theorists are going wild. And so we talked a little bit about it this morning on the Feast Me show with Manly Mark. So we go live at 9 o'clock every morning with that show, me and Fee. And he goes live every night at 9 with Night with Fee. He talks a little relationships, life skills, business skills, relationship skills. So tune into the Night show, or Night with Fee, every night at 9, Monday through Friday. But that's kind of going to be the focus on today's show. We're going to talk about the ins and outs. I'll show you a video about the Russiagate. Some people call it hoax, some people call it conspiracy. But long story short, if you remember in 2016, well, all the way up to 2020, it was in the news continuously. I mean, I got so sick of hearing about Russiagate. It finally went away, I guess, after Biden won. But you remember they had the Mueller report, they had all these reports, and they even impeached Donald Trump about it, right? They even impeached him. And so it's like, now come to find out, Obama was the one who essentially signed off on all these investigations, this hoax, essentially trying to derail the 2016 campaign, then the 2020 campaign, and essentially continuously trying to tie Trump to these conspiracies so that it would hurt his look, his appearance. I think some people even went to jail over it. But I'll read some notes. About just kind of, get into the dates and key timeline of this Russiagate conspiracy. Just for anyone who isn't familiar with it, because as me and Phil talk about quite often on our show, people just don't have a memory of the news cycle if it's not in the last week or two, or heck, even the last month. But if you remember, this was in the news big time, several years ago. And this is essentially just a summarization. The Russiagate saga refers to allegations and investigations surrounding Russian interference in the 2016 U.S. presidential election and potential ties between Donald Trump's campaign and Russian operatives. Background: 2015 to 2016, Russian interference identified. U.S. intelligence agencies, including the FBI, CIA, and NSA, detected Russian efforts to influence the 2016 election through cyber attacks, disinformation, campaigns, and social media manipulation. Key actions included hacking of Democratic National Committee, DNC, and Clinton campaign emails by Russian operatives linked to Russian intelligence, leaking stolen emails via WikiLeaks and other platforms to damage Hillary Clinton's campaign. Widespread social media campaigns, spreading propaganda and decisive content, often coordinated by Russia's Internet Research Agency. Trump's campaign contacts. Throughout 2016, several Trump campaign associates had contacts with Russian individuals, raising suspicions. George Papadopoulos, a foreign policy advisor, was approached by Russian-linked professor offering dirt on Clinton in April 2016. Remember the Trump Tower meeting? That was a huge one. People just flipped their lid over this apparent Trump Tower meeting. Donald Trump Jr., Jared Kushner, and Paul Manafort met with a Russian lawyer, expecting damaging information on Clinton. Can you blame him? Michael Flynn, Trump's future national security advisor, had communications with Russian ambassador Sergei during the transition period. Okay, the investigation begun in 2016. I'm just going to go ahead and kind of quickly go through these. But the FBI probe started July 2016, launched Operation Crossfire Hurricane. I remember those names in the news cycle. Investigation into possible coordination between the Trump campaign and Russia, triggered by Papadopoulos interactions. The Steele dossier, a private intelligence report by former British and spy Christopher Steele, alleged ties between Trump and Russia. Intelligence community assessment. Declassified report by CIA, FBI, and NSA concluded Russia aimed to undermine U.S. democracy, harm Clinton, and help Trump. It confirmed hacking and disinformation but found no direct evidence of campaign collusion at the time. Okay, now we're into 2017, 2019. Mueller investigation. I'm just going to skip through this. They had a whole Mueller investigation, obstruction of justice, right? Aftermath and related. Donald Trump was impeached. Trump's first impeachment was indirectly tied to Russiagate, involving allegations of pressuring Ukraine to investigate Joe Biden. And remember that? How it actually turned out that Biden was over there? Oh, I should have had the video of Biden doing this. And he's literally on the video saying that he called the Ukrainians and said, hey, you guys do this thing or we're taking away the U.S. money. That's what they accused Trump of, remember? And they impeached him for it. But it was all directly tied to the Russiagate, right? And the whole point of it was to undermine Trump, undermine his credibility, link him to enemies of America, Russia, and to make it, well, they were just trying, you could call it a coup, essentially. It was a coup. Okay, and so long story short, you have that all in the background for years, right? The Russiagate's been going on. You haven't heard anything about it in a while just because it's supposedly been quiet. Well, now that Trump's in office, let me just pull my notes. Now that Trump's in office, you finally have his people like Tulsi Gabbard getting into the files and documents, and what they're uncovering when they're looking at the papers are, these were essentially operations against Donald Trump and his associates directed by Obama. And you'd think, okay, well, it's probably people associated with Obama, some of Obama's underlings or his little peons. But no, sir, allegedly it goes to the top, to where they even have the documents signed by Obama himself. And if you have Donald Trump accusing Barack Obama of treason, that's a pretty big deal. Pretty big deal if you ask me. And so, again, I'll show you a video here in a minute about, oh, Jerry, I just now saw your comment. Jerry, I hope you're still tuning in, man. I'm glad you're here. Oh, man, I just love when Jerry tunes in. And, Jerry, I hope you're digging what I'm saying. What do you think about all this Russiagate stuff and Trump accusing Obama of treason? You know, it's kind of weird, just the times we're living in, because treason's a pretty hefty charge. I mean, I can't remember if they just throw you in jail forever or if that's one of the ones where they, like, actually kill you or execute you. So I don't know. But, Jerry, thanks for tuning in. Always good to hear from you, brother. Okay, now where was I? Oh, essentially just saying that it's a big deal, that Trump's just saying it with his own mouth, that it's treason. He's even implicating Hillary Clinton. And, you know, for all these years, there's been conspiracy surrounding all of this. On one side, you had the QAnon, right? That was what I guess you could call the conservative conspiracy cult, where we go one, where one goes all. I don't know. They had their own slogan and everything, but they, for the last several years, would always say stuff like, "You think it's all made up as well?" Yes, yes. Oh, didn't mean to bang that table. Yeah, yeah. Well, Jerry, keep on. If you just want to comment, ask questions, keep on with it, because I'm here to talk to my viewers. I'm here to just to learn with you. But yeah, the RussiaGate stuff all made up to derail Donald Trump, and you got one side of the coin who allege stuff like, oh, these people who committed treason, they're already in Gitmo Bay, they've already been executed. They just cartoonize it. But then you've got the blue anon, so you've got the QAnon and you've got the blue anon. It's like the liberal version of the conspiracy theorists, who if you dabble into what they say, it's all the time. He is a direct CIA. He's a direct plant of Putin. The RussiaGate's true. It's just a bunch of noise from both sides. But it's a little crazy for it to actually see it coming out, and Donald Trump saying Obama committed treason. And so we're going to see what unfolds concerning that and surrounding that. And do I think anything's actually going to happen? Do I think Pam Bondi's actually going to tell them to arrest these folks involved? It'd be cool. People have been talking about it for years. People have been wanting that kind of thing for years. They've been wanting justice. We see these obvious lies perpetuated by, I guess, Obama and the Democrats. Like, think about just all the time wasted having to hear about the RussiaGate, having to hear about this and that, all designed as propaganda to turn you away from Donald Trump. And whether or not you like Donald Trump or not, that's beside the point. It's just that they spent a whole lot of time, money, and effort to persuade the American public against him. I mean, that ought to tell you something. But I hate it just because it's a waste of money and it's annoying. And so we'll just see what unfolds with that. But since I've been talking about this video so much, I'll go ahead and play this clip it's a clip and some commentary. It's of a commentator I like a whole lot, Alex Jones. And so I haven't watched this whole clip, but I'll stop it and jump back in whenever I think it's a good stopping point. But Alex Jones is one of those characters who's pretty controversial, right? You either love him or you hate him, or you don't know anything about him, or what you have heard about him has all been negative. But I tell you, this guy, he is a character and he entertains. But if you actually cut through the noise and listen to what he's saying, he's never wrong. He gets it right. He predicted 9/11 before it happened, 6 months before it happened. Don't know how he did that. It's spooky. Don't have any idea. But I'm going to play you a clip from Alex Jones last night. I was listening to him as I was burning some brush. So it gets into the Trump video and then a little bit about what Alex Jones thinks is going on. And then once this finished playing, we'll keep talking about it. So just give it a listen, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, Trump just announced what I've been telling you for weeks. He let Hillary Clinton off the hook for high treason. He's not letting Obama, Clapper, Brennan, and Comey off. The Justice Department is intending to indict them, not just for perjury to Congress, not just for criminal leaks, which they've all done open and shut, but for a criminal conspiracy of treason against America and the Republic itself, trying to overturn the 2016 election, stealing the 2020 election, and their ongoing operations. This is so incredibly historic. And that's why you see them pushing all the Epstein stuff up to the front, and then Trump acting very, very guilty, like he's covering up for somebody. I mean, this is historic. This is deadly dangerous. This is the prime zone for the globalists to stage mass false flags, cyber attacks, stock market crashes, new wars, you name it, because these two big, powerful groups are coming together for battle for control of the Republic. We know the Democrats are pure evil. We know they're in the WikiLeaks with little kids with John Podesta and Hillary and all of it. And so my point is, we need to be covering what we know is proven. Their treason and their Pizzagate garbage. And then if stuff comes out on Trump, we'll go after him as well. But the jury's not out on them. It's out on Trump. The jury's in on the Democrats, and they are pure evil. Here's President Trump saying Obama and his cohorts in the coup are not off the hook. We're coming for you. This is throwing down the gauntlet. It's going down.
The witch hunt that you should be talking about is they caught President Obama absolutely cold, Tulsi Gabbard. What they did to this country in 2016, starting in 2016, but going up all the way going up to 2020 in the election. They tried to rig the election, and they got caught. And there should be very severe consequences for that. You know, when we caught Hillary Clinton, I said, you know what? Let's not go too far here. It's the ex-wife of a president, and I thought it was sort of terrible. And I let her off the hook, and I'm very happy I did. But it's time to start, after what they did to me, and whether it's right or wrong, it's time to go after people. Obama's been caught directly. So people say, oh, you know, a group. It's not a group. It's Obama. His orders are on the paper. The papers are signed. The papers came right out of their office. They sent everything to be highly classified. Well, the highly classified's been released. And what they did in 2016 and in 2020 is very criminal. It's criminal at the highest level. So that's really the things you should be talking about.
And then, of course, he said, Obama is guilty of treason. Where have we ever seen a U.S. president say this? Never. And about another president and have the proof. I've gotten the FBI documents and the NSA documents that I was being spied on with Trump starting in 2013. Here it is.
If you look at those papers, they have them stone cold, and it was President Obama. It wasn't lots of people all over the place. It was them, too. But the leader of the gang was President Obama, Barack Hussein Obama. Have you heard of him? And except for the fact that he gets shielded by the press for his entire life, that's the one they look. He's guilty. It's not a question. You know, I like to say, let's give it time. It's there. He's guilty. This was treason. This was every word you can think of. They tried to steal the election. They tried to obfuscate the election. They did things that nobody's ever even imagined, even in other countries. You've seen some pretty rough countries. This man has seen some pretty rough countries, but you've never seen anything like it. And we have all of the documents. And from what Tulsi told me, she's got thousands of additional documents coming. So President Obama, it was his concept, his idea, but he also got it from crooked Hillary Clinton.
That's
crooked
right.
Is a $3 bill.
And the documents are already out. She's just collated them, and they have secret emails. This was all run by DHS and the Pentagon.
So there you have it, folks. What do you think about that? I mean, Trump couldn't be any more cut and dry than that. Obama is accused. He's accusing Obama of treason. And so several questions come up regarding that, and in the wake of that, what's going to happen? Okay, so my first question is anything actually going to happen? Well, right off the bat, I would say no, because nothing ever happens. You've been here for 10 years that the Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama and all these other people, Democrat politicians that you see, are actually body doubles, and they're actually been executed in life in prison already for the last 10 years, right? That's just insane. We don't believe that at the Feast Me Network. It's just poking a little fun at some of the conspiracies you hear. Now, I mean, we might get into sometime the weird mask thing. There might be something going on with the body double mask, but we won't talk about that today. We're talking about Obama and the treason. So question number one, is anything actually going to happen? And is anything actually going to come of it? Trump acted like there's thousands of more documents still left to come out, and he was calling out names, man. He was calling out Obama by name. So that's interesting. This might be one of the times that something actually happens. Okay, and say that he does. They do start arresting folks after this. What is the liberal establishment going to do, and what are they going to manipulate their constituents to do? Are there going to be riots in all these liberal cities, kind of like we saw with the George Floyd? Are they going to burden down the cities if Trump sends in the military to actually arrest these folks? I don't know. It'd be, probably, because, I mean, the Democrats have historically been very efficient at stirring up the hornet's nest within their constituents to riot on behalf of whatever meaningful moral stance they happen to be taking at the time. So that's interesting. So whether or not something actually is going to happen, we'll find out. Second question is, and Trump kind of, not Trump, Alex Jones kind of got into this, and this was kind of what me and Phil talked about this morning and what I've been thinking about as well. Some folks are insinuating that this is actually a distraction from the Trump-Epstein connection, that the Trump, and so, it is seemingly coming out of the blue, but I guess, maybe not out of the blue just because maybe I hadn't been paying attention. Maybe this has been in the works for a while. Maybe they just needed to wait till Trump actually got back into office and into power to be able to prove these things. And, I wouldn't be surprised if I've been seeing news and hearing stuff about how the past administration tried to destroy a lot of documents and destroy a lot of evidence. So something like that wouldn't be surprising either if they're just now kind of finding out all this stuff. But regardless, it is taking the spotlight away from the Epstein stuff. And so you have to ask yourself, is part of this a distraction away from Epstein and the Trump connection? Again, is Trump on the list? Is Trump not on the list? I don't know. I couldn't tell you. His complete 180 for the topic, his complete 180 away from the Epstein and attacking him and even admitting that there's a list is really odd. Some people say it's because of some embarrassing stuff in these files. Some people say it's not actually Trump. He's not actually on the list, or so he didn't have nasty associations with Epstein. Because some people suggest that Epstein was actually an informant, not Epstein, but that Trump was actually an informant upon Epstein in the late 90s or early 2000s, and that there had been a record of Trump calling the police or FBI on Epstein. So I need to look more into that. But so Trump might not actually be on the list, and it might be something along the lines of some damaging or embarrassing. We talked about this on the Feast Me show this morning. Damaging or some embarrassing information about our intelligence agencies or some intelligence agencies that we're allied with. So, for example, if it turns out that Epstein was directly associated with the CIA and Mossad, okay, so, as Phil said this morning, he would have a hard time imagining that these intelligence agencies could be associated in any way, shape, form, or fashion in these child trafficking crimes. And on the surface, you'd think, no, there's no way. But man, think about the Operation Paperclip we talked about yesterday. The ends justified the means, right? And so it didn't matter that we were employing thousands of war criminals in a war that millions of American men gave their lives for, right? That didn't matter. The end did. The technological advancement over the Soviets is what actually mattered. So in the same sense, you'd say, well, how could these agencies do these things? Well, if having potential blackmail on most of the world's celebrities, politicians, elite, all these people, having blackmail on all of them is such power that the ends, the power to control and influence these people, to support your causes, to vote for your causes, to be lenient against your own crimes or shortcomings, that is what is important, not who you hurt in the process. And so do the ends justify the means? Again, I leave that up to you, the viewers, and I don't actually know if these intelligence agencies are implicated at all. I haven't seen the documents. I don't know. But it's certainly interesting to think about. And honestly, if it turned out that these intelligence agencies were implicated, I could see why Trump wouldn't want to release the files or would kind of downplay it because, okay, number one, he's either in them, or number two, it hurts the view of our own intelligence agencies. So it's definitely interesting to think about. But regardless, I'm excited to kind of see what's going to go on with this Obama stuff, what's going to happen with this treason accusation. I hadn't really seen any responses from the Obama camp or the Obama side, but they're probably saying he's going on bizarre rants, or they're probably calling that the fact that he's accusing Obama of treason. They're saying that's probably based in conspiracy theories. And so they go back and forth accusing each side of conspiracy theories when, well, number one, both sides do lie all the time, but they're you hear that there's peaceful transfer of power in America, but then you see something like this in the undercurrent. How often or how many times did something like that go on? Well, heck, we can get into Watergate on some episode. The whole Watergate thing was odd. You know, they caught, I mean, I can't even remember the specific details, but I just know even that controversy was probably manufactured to oust Nixon. You know, well, I mean, we'll get into that and we'll talk in depth about it. But you hear, well, we're just painted this vision of America, of democracy, the democratic republic, and a peaceful transfer of power, and how we choose our politicians. But then on the undercurrent, you find out, no, a lot of these seats in Congress and the Senate are sold to people, right? They sell the Senate seats. A lot of the presidents' campaigns were hijacked, or what do you call it? I don't know, but it's not been as peaceful transferring power between parties over the last 250 years as they make it seem. And this is clearly an example of that. The Obama administration clearly sought to undermine Trump's first term, his first election, his first term, undermine it, keep him from coming to office, keep him from getting reelected. They even probably tried it in 2024, or whenever the last election was. But it's just, we'll see what happens with it. And I'm sure me and Fee will touch back in on that specific topic on the Feast Me Show with Manly Mark. And I'm sure as things develop, I'll touch back in on them on our show, or on this show. And so, if you guys have any thoughts in the comments, anyone out there listening, tell me what you think. I know Jerry over there said he thinks it's all made up. So, Jerry, thanks again for the input, and thanks again for tuning in. You know, we just love hearing from our viewers, and it's always great when it's someone I just don't even know. So, God bless you, Jerry. And, you know, we're going to kind of wrap things up, but to kind of, I guess the kind of last discussion I wanted to get into, and I had a specific picture of it. I just couldn't figure out how to get it loaded up on the screen to show you guys before 12 o'clock. You know, I'm on that strict timeline now. Come on now, I got to be on that strict timeline, get everything figured out. But it was essentially about AI. And you see this whole discussion's been about conspiracy theories from the left and the right, accusing each side of being the creator of these conspiracy theories. And really with AI now, you have to be careful because a lot of the content you see is AI generated. It's a lot of, there have been accusations of deep fake videos of politicians for the last several years, right? And don't get me wrong, I think AI in of itself can be a useful tool if you allow it to help aid in your thinking, right? If you allow the AI to aid in your thinking, I think you're all right. But if you allow the AI to dictate what you think, right? Like, write me an article about photosynthesis in leaves. Okay, well, what have you gained? What if AI doesn't even know it, but you're not going to read it, so you don't know. You've allowed AI to dictate what you believe and think. But you can, hey AI, help me organize a paper I'm going to write about photosynthesis. Okay, cool. Yeah, it can be a good tool, but the point I'm going with this is the picture I wanted to show was a picture of the very first, this was probably 2 or 3 years ago, the picture of the very first AI designed tattoo. And some guy had it actually tattooed on his body. And it was a cool little sigil, right, a little symbol. And it was, like I said, 100% designed by AI. Well, long story short, it turned out that this sigil just so happened to be like, I can't remember the specific, but a demonic sigil that has been around for thousands of years or hundreds of years in these demonic black magic books or whatever. And it's like, funny joke, AI. So the point I'm making is like AI can be a useful tool, but I think as time goes on and as AI progresses, I think we're going to realize, well, another instance, there's stories you can just type into Google of people committing suicide because they were convinced to do so because of their chat bots, right? Their chat AIs, or people who've been convinced to leave their spouses or murder their families or commit crimes because the AI convinced them to do so. As time goes on and as AI advances, I think we are going to discover that these things are actually, don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but we're building interfaces for demons. We're building bodies and ways of communication for these otherworldly intelligences, right? And I think it's going to go as far as whenever people start putting these brain chips in their heads, Neuralink, or whether or not there's another company that's going to come out and tell us we can all be connected to the AI, not only will it be a counterfeit Holy Spirit in that before, I mean, how does the Bible describe the Holy Spirit? As a comforter, right? You pray to the Holy Spirit comforts you, and you pray and it leads and guides you. Well, before long, we'll all have our own Holy Spirit AI companion in our brains that I believe will fulfill the purpose of an artificial Holy Spirit. Ooh, kind of a new thought, new idea, right? An AI God. You can actually pray and it'll talk back. You can talk to this being, this all-knowing being, this ever-present, permeating all reality being that's inside your brain. It knows your thoughts. It knows you intimately. I think that's kind of where it's going. But I think at the end of the day, some people would suggest, if you dip into like the book of Enoch, that the Watchers that descended down and mated with the daughters of men and made the Nephilim, that after the flood, the bodies of these Nephilim were destroyed, but their spirits were left to roam, and that they sought embodiment. And so in the New Testament, when you see these instances of demons, that these were the spirits of these disembodied Nephilim left to roam the earth. Okay, well, they are intelligences that exist outside of our own observation and understanding, that seek a voice and seek embodiment. And I'm wondering how much of this AI is not building these things for them. We'll see. I mean, just something interesting to think about as we close out today's episode of Midday Madness with Manly Mark. You just can't really believe anything you see nowadays. So always pray about things, and always you have to question everything you see. I don't know if half the things I read or see are real. So you always have to double check, and you always have to confirm. And again, I might have just lied every second of this episode, but hopefully not. And so, yeah, guys, thanks again for tuning in, anyone who might be listening. As always, we had a great time with you guys. And I'm ready to, I definitely feel more comfortable being here by myself. It's still not my favorite thing to do, just because I do so much better sitting there chit-chatting with Phil while we're having a good conversation. But I'm getting more comfortable, and as time goes on, these episodes will get more in-depth, more fun. So thanks again, guys, for tuning in. Catch me again tomorrow on the Feast Me Show with Manly Mark, tomorrow at 9 o'clock. And catch Phil, Feast Me himself, tonight on Night with Fee at 9 o'clock. So thanks again, guys, for tuning in.